The following is a rebroadcast of the Newark City Schools Board of Education's most recent general monthly meeting.
I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Newark City School District Board of Education. It's November 5th, 2013 at 6:30 p.m. in the Roosevelt Building. Jeff, call the roll, please.
Mr. Blind?
Here.
Mr. Bybee?
Here.
Mr. Carr?
Here.
Mr. Harden?
Here.
Mrs. Nickum?
Here.
We have a quorum of 5.
Okay, Mr. Bybee will now lead us in the invocation of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Deb. Our flag is over here on our left. You're right. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dan. Special reports.
Okay, I do not see John Lutz here at present time, so he was going to report on the Digital Academy and the success of that. I can tell you they've made a lot of great strides, but we'll wait and see if John comes in at another time and during the meeting. So, quick report.
Okay.
Technology update, really have nothing new other than got some kindergartners coming in next month and from Legend with iPads, and had them coming in tonight until we realized it was a non-school day, so none of the students really wanted to get fired up about coming here today, so an event we have them scheduled for December.
Okay, thank you, Doug. At this time, we'll take public comment, communications from the floor. Anyone wishing to address the board can come to the podium. Please give your name and address, and you may address the board for up to 5 minutes. Does anyone wish to address the board this evening?
That gentleman,
Okay, it might take over 5 minutes. I'll let you guys tell me yes or no. The first is just to give you a general. My name is Jay DeVries. I live at 879 Jones Avenue. This year I have 1 at Heritage and 4 at Carson. Next year I'll have 1 at Heritage and 5 at Carson. So, number 1 concern is transportation. Ever since you guys took the transportation away until we said you get the levy passed, I have always voted no on the levies. To me, I felt that was a very immature political game. So prior to this meeting, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to this meeting, I'm going to let them have it. So I did a little research, and I realized that I was wrong for doing that. So I apologize to you. After looking at the issues I've seen from 2011 and 2012, I've seen that the administration has dropped in percentage of the amount of money they've used. I've seen that you guys have raised the transportation rate, which, after realizing that and after seeing what you guys have done to the school board and since that 2008, I want to tell you guys thank you very much. So I really can't light you guys up the way I really felt like I wanted to.
That's all right.
But, so I owe you guys an apology. So today was the first time, and I told my wife, I'm going to vote yes for the levy. Do I feel that the $9,000 per student that we have right now is a lot of money compared to a community college that it averages $10,000 to go for 1 year? Yes. But comparing it to Heath, which I know is not the same amount, they have $8,000 per student. Transportation, Newark, 4%. Heath, 4.7%. And I thought, oh, good, I still got a little bit of leverage here. Then I did administration and fiscal. Newark, 7.7%. Heath, 15.2%. That is if I did my math right. So again, I don't feel that I should be upset because of what I see versus what you guys have done over the years. So I want to tell you guys thank you. But my issue is still transportation. And the reason being is where we live, we have 2 options to go to Heritage or to Carson. Carson is not too bad. Most of it's sidewalk and generally lit. Not bad. Police patrol, almost zero. Sorry, Newark police officer who's here. That has been an issue on the far east side for many years. Ever since I moved here, it has been an issue. Such an issue, when Jeff Harris was here, I brought it to him with a petition of how many signatures I got in one day with the concern. Nothing since then, for a whole year and a half that I pushed it, ever changed. The only time we get a police officer is really when we call and complain. We can see more state troopers than we see Newark police officers in our neighborhood. So, thank you, state. My concern is now we're talking heritage. My sixth grader is 11 years old. You are asking her to walk down either a hill, straight up a hill, where there is no lights in the morning, or you're asking her, and no sidewalks, or you're asking her to walk no sidewalks in poorly lit, lighted neighborhoods. Is that an issue for the city? Yes. Is it an issue the city can do anything about? At this point, no, because of the poverty in our area. I think the safety is still a major issue. The inconvenience for my wife, because I'm already at work by that time, is great. We share the burden with someone else in our neighborhood. We have a 15-passenger van, so we're able to take our kids and their kids to the elementary school. Never been an issue, just always happened that way. But now it's become an issue with us having both 1 and 2 in the middle school with their occupations and my occupation. Their grandfather, who's retired, was nice enough to step in and transport them, which I'm grateful for. I feel that being someone in the community, the reason the negativity I've always had for the school board was due to how I felt that whole transportation thing was handled in 2008. So I don't know if it's possible, and I know it's not going to happen overnight, and I know it's hard for me to request for my kid only to be the only one picked up because of the issue, is if it would be possible to put a transportation levy only in for a vote in the community to see if it is possible to show and basically show what I have asked or shown today with my math, if it's correct, and say, look, we want to help with the transportation. We know it's a safety issue. We would like to help with that. Even if it is to double that transportation and ask for another, 2.5 mil, I think it was, without looking. That's, $50 a household? To me, $50 a household is simple, even in my own case, when I average less than the normal income of a person living in Ohio supporting a family of 10. So if I'm willing to pitch in $50, I would hope the rest of the community would be able to pitch in $50 to make sure all of our children have a safe trip to school. In that would have to be some kind of clause, of course, for me to vote for it, saying that we are going to eliminate that for 5 years or whatever, the whole mileage issue with the schools. That's just my concern. My main concern is getting transportation for the kids. I don't feel it's safe.
Your time's up, Mr. Reese, but
Okay.
thank you.
Do you guys have any comments? I don't know how this works. I'm not.
I did want to, isn't sidewalks to Heritage part of the city's Safe Route to School grant that they received? I was thinking there was something about sidewalks.
Dave's nodding yes. For Heritage,
However,
that's tied up.
with this gentleman's neighborhood, that didn't include all the sidewalks in that general area. They did do some upgrades on some of the, whether it's Arlington or some of those streets that you head in, and the safe sidewalks to school, there was money applied to that. But clearly, the sidewalks aren't in great shape out in that general area, particularly if you get east of Cedar Street. It's really spotty, particularly when you get out in your area, Jones, out in there. You're absolutely correct.
There's none. I drove it last night. I drove both ways. One way going to our church, another way coming back after taking my son somewhere for a treat from him being good in school. Either way, it's poorly lit. The one way, it's not lit. The other way, it's poorly lit. One every corner, and you expect kids to walk up a steep hill, which that's great for exercise, but a car coming the other way on a poorly lit street with no sidewalks, that is a safety issue.
Okay, and I'll have to cut you off there. Does anyone else wish to address the board this evening?
Can I add to that, please?
You can come up for your 5 minutes if you like.
Oh, and by the way, Jay,
Yes.
thank you for your vote. Thank you.
Yeah, my father was a school teacher, so I know what teachers go through, as far as income. So, I try to support my schools as much as I can.
Thank you.
My name is Joel Barrows. I live at 838 Linwood Avenue, and I am the other family that he's talking about. We were told that the transportation would go within 1.5 miles of the school, and we live 1.3. So the only other thing that I would like to add on top of what he's already stated is we have a drug problem in our neighborhood. There are syringes that have been found all over the neighborhood, along with the little balloons that they use for heroin. And there's also sexual predators within that mile radius. I'm not going to let my daughter walk to school like it's been suggested. So the sidewalk safety thing, that's not going to work either. So, you let one kid and, she's got to carry a cello and a backpack. That's just not going to work for a mile. We're not living in the 50s anymore, in the 40s. Not when we have the means to take care of our kids. I believe that our city wants to stay safe. I think we want our kids to stay safe. I don't think we want another sexual predator on the loose or giving them any reason to come out of their house. But that's the only other comment that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
If I can ask, and probably Dave is the one to ask this of, do we not have a procedure in place to request special transportation arrangements that don't fall within the,
An exception committee that the bar helps us with. When there's some extenuating circumstances, we look at those on a case-by-case basis with a written report.
Yeah, there is a transportation review committee. I sit on that. Also, I did want to point out the state rule is to transport more than 2 miles away, and we've reduced that to more than 1.5 miles away as a district. Okay.
I think that might be a good starting point for these gentlemen to maybe talk with Dave or whomever about how you go about.
I wrote in the letters of section, it got denied because the bus in our area, she said
It's
it's
full.
more than it should already be, not counting
Yeah.
the extra kids that have tried to put them up. So we've already tried it and denied that. I've talked to him extensively, and this was the next step he recommended that we take because there's nothing else we can do.
Certainly. Okay. Does anyone else wish to address the board this evening?
Can I ask a question? If one of my children does get injured on the school, walking to school, who's liable for that? Due to us paying taxes for transportation, but not giving the transportation because of the guidelines set in your bylaws in, 8,000, I think it is, where you have your bylaws for transportation. And also, with that, is when and what was mandated or revised in 2008.
Okay, Mr. Reese, I'm sorry, I'm really going to have to cut you off. The public comment period is in general for public comment, and we typically don't respond or get into an exchange during that.
Okay.
But I or any of us would be happy to meet with you after the board meeting to discuss your concerns further.
Okay,
But for now, we need to get on with the rest of our board meeting
Okay, I
and give
understand
others the
that.
opportunity to public comment.
I understand that, but one time there was an issue at the Newark City over this protection thing, and I went and talked to Bob Diebold. when he
Okay,
was
really,
there.
I
He
can
said,
talk
"I'll
about
talk
it
to him
after
on
the meeting.
side," And it got nowhere until I came back up to the mic and got something, so I'll give you.
Well, your 5 minutes is up. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to cut you off right there. But I'd be happy to meet with you as soon as the meeting's over. All right? Does anyone else wish to address the board at this time? If not, we'll move on to treasurer's recommendations, please.
Item 2A is approval of minutes, Board of Education meetings. It is recommended the minutes of the following board meeting be approved as shown in the appendix for October 14th, 2013 regular meeting. Item 2B is approval of November 2013 financial statements and payment to vendors, including interest of $3,950.62. our fund balances is general fund, $20,620,000. Bond retirement, $3,920,000. Permanent improvement, $1,270,000. Building fund, $290,000. Food service, $930,000. Ohio School Facilities Project Local, $120,000. Ohio School Facilities Project State Share, $2,140,000. Classroom Facilities Maintenance, $2,410,000. Other miscellaneous grants and other balances, $790,000, for a total of $32,500,000 that agrees with the bank. Item 2C is the permanent supplemental appropriation. We have two changes in that. 018 fund, public school support, we were asking to increase for $4,700 due to a Heritage Middle School fundraiser, so they can spend the money that they raised. 019 other grants was $2,000 for the approval of the Tibby Leslie grant/scholarship. Item 2D is approval to pay invoices, in particular a $32,000 invoice. This is the final retainage on the Heritage Middle School construction project. Item 2E is approval of change in student worker hourly rate. This will be effective January 1, 2014, to stay in compliance with Ohio minimum wage increase laws. Item 2F is approval of transfer of inactive funds. This item was tabled from the July 11, 2013 board meeting. After waiting that time and working with the buildings, the Heritage Yearbook Fund for $75. The way the yearbook is now done, the publisher actually carries the balance to the end. So this would be, we're recommending to move this to the Heritage Student Council so they can use it at their school. The second item that was tabled is the NHS Orchestra, had $113, and there's a correction in the agenda. That's $113.75, if you would, please. It is budgeted to be expended by the end of this fiscal year. So the recommendation is to transfer the Heritage Yearbook to the Heritage Student Council and to let the NHS Orchestra have the rest of this year to spend that $113.75. Those are the recommendations, item 2A through F. And if there's no questions, I would entertain motions to approve.
Do I have a motion to approve treasurer's recommendations 2A through F?
So, second.
Tim has moved, Dan is second. Any discussion or questions? Not call the roll, please, Jeff.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Bybee?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mrs. Nickam?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Superintendent's recommendations.
Okay, under item A, personnel, call your attention to resignation of Mark George wrestling, or the assistant wrestling coach at the high school. There are no leaves of absence, appointments and assignments are present under the classified. Item 4 are the wrestling coaches, the bowling coaches. As you know, bowling this year will first time be a sport. All of these people were volunteers in the past when it was a club and have done a wonderful job, so we're excited to make that a varsity wrestling sport this year. Salary positions and adjustments, Taylor Brokaw, Jeff Moore have already been approved by the board. Their split is different now, and is now a 70-30 split on that one supplemental. Item 6 are tutors. Item 7, substitutes. Under item 8, under other, tentative agreement with the OPSE group, the Ohio Association of Public School Employees. To approve the tentative agreement with that group. And then B is approval of the organizational chart, which we've done a lot of reorganization in the district, and this is the up-to-date as of 2013. So items 1 through 8.
Do I have a motion to approve superintendent's recommendations 3A, 1 through 8?
So moved.
Tom has moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Curtis, second. Any questions or discussion? Not call the roll, please, Jeff.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Bybee?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Nickam?
Yes, motion carries.
Okay, under B, students and curriculum, special education contracts. I did want to point out to you that, because normally we have 4 or 5 of these on every agenda, and you see that they are districts that are all around the state, and most of those children are foster placed that we are still responsible for, so I want to point that out to you. And that is the only item under students and curriculum this month.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve superintendent's recommendations 3B1?
So moved.
Dan has moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Curtis, second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bybee?
Yes.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Nickam?
Yes, motion carries.
Okay. Under board discussion, most of you know, Tim and Bev have known this for a couple months as being members of the CTEC board. Under the new budget, there are new requirements for our board who appoints 2 members to the CTEC board. And so there are and there are big changes. As you know, in the past, the board would appoint 2 people from that, and you'd serve 2-year terms. So I want to go through some of the changes. These are changes in the new law from the new budget. And so if you have those, we sent those out. Start with the resolution to appoint. So under the statutory requirements for making the appointment, under the Ohio Revised Code, which came effect and this law came into place at the end of September of this year. And so will affect only Tim this year, Tim's position, because Tim is in the 2nd year. So Bev is in year 1 of a 2-year. So at the end of Bev's term, then the law comes into effect. So in other words, it will not take away any member who's in the middle of a term. So at the end. So the requirements are that the joint vocational school board members have experience as a chief executive officers, chief financial officers, human resource managers, or other business, industry, or career counseling professionals who are qualified to discuss labor needs of the region with respect to the regional economy. And the requirement that the JVSD board members represent employers in the region served by CTEC and qualified to consider the state's workforce needs with an understanding of the skills, training, and education needed for current and future employment opportunities in the state, and the requirement that the JVSD board member be selected based on the diversity of employers in the territory served by the Newark City Schools. Who determines that? You do as a Newark City board. And as we go through a little bit more of this, hopefully you'll understand a little bit more. So appointing board members of joint vocational school district boards, amended schedule, it's House Bill 59. And so what CTEC has shared with us are basically a questionnaire for perspective. In other words, if Tim would want to stay on the board, then he'd fill out a questionnaire for any board member who has interest in the next couple months would fill out that questionnaire and share with other board members. The questionnaire is provided you. So it's residency or place of business, business experience, curriculum, JVSD Business Advisory Committee. So the law provides that individuals who have served as members of the JVSD Business Advisory Committee and who otherwise meet the legal criteria, including the business experience requirement, may be given preference on that. So it says may be. So CTEC and other JVS across the state have advisory committees right now. So their programs have these qualified people who work in that business serving on advisory committees right now. So that person may be given special preference if they choose to. So there's a form to fill out, mission and vision, and I'm only mentioning this now because it gives you a couple months to think about it, because we have to place, by law, one more person on there. So it applies to appointments made on or after the effective date as the terms of members of the CTEC Board are serving unexpired terms, expire, or those officers otherwise vacated prior to the expiration date. And there's where Bev comes in. So it's just one spot that, so Bev serves this next year. Terms of service, districts agree by law, members appointed to the CTEC Board shall serve 3-year terms of office, and that no member shall hold office for a period of no longer than 2 consecutive terms. Terms shall be considered consecutive unless separated by 3 or more years. And so the days of someone serving for 20 or 25, 30 years on a board consecutively are gone from that standpoint. Appointing boards, members of the CTEC Board will continue to be appointed by the school boards of the associate districts, just like we do right now. Appointing boards retain sole discretion to appoint members of the CTEC Board whom they find to be lawfully qualified to serve. And so you determine, in a case where, I'll use me as an example, if I were employed as a roofer or any profession, there's nobody we can go to say, does that qualify in the law? That's up to the Newark Board to decide. So it is right now. I mean, you actually appoint Tim and Bev as your representatives now, so that doesn't really change. So. Districts agree that the subject to requirements of state law, appointing boards may appoint CTEC Board member, any member of the appointing board who is lawfully eligible to serve. Alternatively, appointing boards may appoint to the CTEC Board any individual who is not a member of the appointing board who is lawfully eligible to serve. So that basically says, if you determine that nobody on the Newark Board is qualified, meets those qualifications, then the Newark Board can appoint someone else who fits that. And they don't even have to live in the Newark City School District.
Or in CTEC district.
Or in the CTEC district.
Yes.
Because I'm getting to it here. 3/5 of the CTEC Board has to be made up of residents of the CTEC district. So you could technically appoint somebody who lives in Youngstown, as long as the CTEC Board still contains the 3/5 vote.
That's crazy.
That's very crazy.
It's
The likelihood of that, probably, to get somebody from Youngstown to drive down here once a month to a CTEC Board meeting, probably not going to happen. So, just something to, I don't know, Bev, if you want to add anything?
Yeah, the reason we wanted to bring this up tonight is that essentially, as an appointing board, we need to make sure that we have in some way vetted candidates before we've appointed them. So,
Is this all about the fact that we didn't vet Tim well enough?
yes, this all came
The
about
10-car rule.
because
Yeah.
CTEC didn't like
They singled me out
Tim's
about a year
appointment.
ago, yeah. What this is about?
Pretty shady character at the end of the table.
So CTEC's been working with their attorney, but also with Terrence O'Donnell, who seems to be the expert in the state on this issue currently. And a couple of the things that they've put together is a questionnaire where we would have, make sure the people we've appointed have filled this out to how they fit the qualifications, and/or a memorandum of understanding with CTEC that, yes, we've vetted these candidates, they meet these qualifications. The concern is that down the road, CTEC will make some sort of decision, take a vote on something, someone will not be happy with that decision and will say, wait a second, Tim Carr doesn't qualify, and then file suit against CTEC and the appointing board. So we do not have to follow this path. We can use something similar to this, come up with our own Newark vetting system, but we need to have some sort of vetting system in place by the January organizational meeting to make sure that we are meeting all of these new state requirements. But as Doug says, it wouldn't have to be someone on the Newark board, although I believe CTEC's preference is to keep it board members from the appointing boards as we've been doing. It's no longer a requirement.
The upside is, based on these requirements, we don't have to worry about too many state legislators being on CTEC boards because most of the people that pass this law wouldn't qualify.
Quite potentially.
Personal opinion there.
Wow.
And
Oh, the
Tom
lights
said the wrong
did it.
thing.
Yeah, Tom.
Jeff? Oh, we didn't move. That's a problem.
Yeah.
We're moving.
We blocked the sensor the last time.
That's right.
Well, it's kind of, ambiance is pretty nice in there.
There you go, Jeff.
But also, Tom, you were right when you asked about how we have set up the 2-year term staggered. That won't be anymore, so we'll have to adjust our ruling to meet that requirement also.
This has a knack of doing stupid things, but I think this is just a personal affront to people that board members are there to learn the issues, represent the people, and use their judgment. You pay the 6-figure incomes for the expertise. You don't have to have them on the board. And I just think the state's sticking their nose in where it doesn't belong. It's my own personal opinion.
Quite possibly.
You know,
Do that on a regular basis.
it
A long history of practice.
Yeah.
would be, so between the three of you, with Dan going off the board, and then it would be the three of you, and after the election tonight, the other board member who will take office in January. It will come down to,
Who
if
will
you're,
remain nameless?
yeah, if you're interested,
You did get one
then
vote.
I think step one would be filling out this form for the board, and so you have some interest, so when we get in the organizational meeting, we are able to appoint that person for
So
it.
you
Because,
say,
yeah, we have to appoint a CTEC board member before the CTEC organizational meeting that legally has to be held on or before January
so
15th.
this will preclude you from going back on the CTEC board, are you saying?
Actually, no, it doesn't even affect.
Okay.
After this next year, I could still then serve 2 consecutive 3-year
Yeah.
terms.
So we still have time to railroad you.
Yes, you still have time to railroad me, Tom.
If you, yeah, so, again,
So food for thought, something that we'll need to,
if you have interest, let
Figure
me
out.
know. We'll get you the forms and you can fill it out for the other board members to see, consider, whatever. And again, it is totally up to you. If our board's mission is to have that member represent from an elected person on a Newark City board, then, we have to have someone step up and say, hey, I've qualified and that. If not, then we do have that option.
right, okay.
Okay?
So board discussion. It's Tim, you're up.
Oh, where to start? I mean, well, anyway,
Started all this.
what's that?
You started all this controversy anyway.
I started none of this. It's our wonderful state legislatures who demand things and provide no funding for that, but it's okay. Great time to be a cat. Anxious to get levy results and see how our renewal went. And if all things going well, keep the momentum going in Newark City schools.
I pass.
I'd like to thank the levy committee, especially Joe Gazawa. I think that's neat. Somebody who, compared to most of us, is a recent graduate, decided to step up and take control of that and do, I think, a really good job. And I just think we owe them a big vote of gratitude. I'd like to congratulate Toby Hardwick. Our cross-country team finished second in the state. And this is a really good state for cross-country, and when you've got a runner finishing second, they have accomplished something. And unfortunately, cross-country is a sport that doesn't get a lot of recognition, and I think for what Toby did, he really deserves it. Also like to congratulate the football team. To think that these kids were 0-9, or young men, I think they proved they're young men Friday. They were 0-9, they were trailing going into the last quarter. 95% of the people out there would have said, here we go again. And these kids stepped up and pulled it out. And I just think that shows a level of character that probably the whole town should be proud of. You hear these people say, oh, we shouldn't be funding extracurriculars. I think this is a typical example that those kids, either young men, showed or learned something that night that we can't teach them in a classroom. And I just think what they did was amazing. And happy Thanksgiving.
I want to join Tom in thanking the levy committee for their great work and all the efforts in trying to pass our levy. I also want to thank everyone that did get out to vote to support the levy. This allows us to continue a lot of positive momentum that we have going forward, and we just simply have to maintain that. And thank you for your vote to show your confidence in our school board. Also want to join Tom in wishing the football team, the seniors on that team, the best as they move forward. We had a great senior night, and we recognized a lot of senior football players and cross country and cheerleaders and band and soccer players, and well, anybody that was a senior that played in a fall sport was recognized that night. And what was good about it is, first of all, there were so many, and their parents and support people in their home showed up, and it was a great night, and it was very gratifying to see everybody recognized at that senior night. I also want to wish the bowling team the best of luck as they move forward with their new varsity sport. That's been a club activity for a number of years, and now it's being recognized as a sport. And so I want to wish them the best of luck as they move forward and have a great season. So that's all I have, Pat.
Thank you, Dan. Jeff?
Just want to thank everybody that has went out and voted today and supported the school levy, the renewal of the school levy. Assuming that it will pass tonight, we'll do the best we can to take care of that money, manage it as if it was our own, coming out of our own pocket, because part of it is coming out of our own pocket, and we'll put it to the best use that we can for the students of Newark City Schools. Kind of got a story to tell, and I hope I'm not stealing anything that Doug's got. Had Willie Henderson, I say it right. I had lunch with his dad, and he's the young boy that went to the Naval Academy. And I asked how Willie was doing, and the feedback, his dad smiled and said that Willie's doing fantastic in math. He's doing fantastic in chemistry. He's even doing well in English that he doesn't like, and the rest of his cadet mates, a lot of them are struggling. And he wanted the people of Newark to know that Newark High School, Newark City Schools prepared him well. And that meant a lot to me. I'm not a teacher, but I felt like I contributed a little bit to it by keeping the budget balanced and sound, and every person that voted for the levy today contributed to it also. So it's a great time to be a cat. Thank you.
Well said, Mr. Anderson. I think I've been in a few conversations because I did get an email from Barbie Henderson, and he's at the United States Military Academy, and some students are struggling in chemistry. And Willie took the time to tell his mother, you make sure you tell Mrs. Whartonby thank you, because some students are struggling, and I felt like I'm really prepared. But we also, that's a great thing that Jeff shared, and it's really neat to see. But what we're all about is all of our children having hope and opportunities. And our Smiling with Hope Bakery, this is my favorite story of the whole year, has a young lady in there that got a full-time job at Denison University in the kitchen from Walter Lozinski's program. And if you'd have told me that a few years ago, right out of high school, full-time job, running the pizza oven in there, I'm just so proud of her and that program. And it shows the spectrum that we cover. We've got the United States Military Academy cadet achieving and felt he was prepared. We've got students from the Smiling with Hope Bakery achieving and are prepared for college and career readiness. And so it really makes me feel proud of our programs and what we're offering here. It has been a wonderful start to the school year, given that we are, I just got the numbers today, we're about 63, 93 or something that way. We plan at the envisioning session in January to share with the board a 10-year history of enrollment, if we can, so we can see that trend coming back. And so, great start to the school year. Went around yesterday to the buildings where the professional development was going on, and the Browns had a great day Sunday. And I didn't hear one person talking about the Cleveland Browns. It was all about instruction and how they word questions on tests and preparing students. And the neat thing about it is as I walked in, and it's a tribute to our administrators in the district, our principals, Maura, Mindy, Barb, our team of curriculum advisors, that our teachers are leading our professional development. And so they have good guidance from these ladies here that are doing a fantastic job of guiding, and our principals guiding that professional development. And boy, I was just really fired up yesterday. You'd have thought we beat Pick Central in basketball. I just came back and just on a upbeat because of the conversations and activities I saw going on yesterday. Two more things. Behavior of our kids, unbelievable this year in our buildings. Wonderful, polite, great kids that we have here in Newark that are really focused on some things. And along with that, we talk about the football. We got a great win the other night. We talk about basketball and volleyball. A group I noticed that didn't matter what the score was, if we were 0-6 or 0-7 in football, our cheerleaders do a fantastic job here and come with a bright attitude every night and really contribute. Our student sections have been wonderful at ball games. And then I, too, would like to thank Joe Crisaro for stepping up. And Joe put a lot of time and effort into this. And he put a lot of time and effort into it because he's proud to be a Newark City graduate. And he's a young man that went away to a good school, went away, and they say, get out of your hometown for a little bit, and then if you want to come back, come back. He was out of here, and I think he realized it's a good place. I think State Farm realized he's a good young man, and they brought him back here, and now he's being a good community member. And so thanks, Joe, for your hard work. So, boom.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Reese and Mr. Barrows, for sharing your concerns tonight, and we'll talk after the meeting. The football game Friday night, all I can say, if you were at Lancaster, you would have thought we'd won the state championship because we went crazy. It was fantastic. We did a parade straight from Lancaster High School to Whitefield, and the boys rang the bell, and it was really awesome. And I was really happy for the seniors, and it was a great night. And oh my gosh, I was still giddy Saturday of talking about it with different community members at McDonald's over breakfast. So congratulations to the football team on that great win against Lancaster. I mean, what a great team to beat, too. And also good luck to the Pride of Newark this Friday at Brunswick High School at 9 p.m. is when they'll compete in the state marching band finals. So I'll be tweeting out the score, but it'll be late when I'm able to tweet it out. The awards probably aren't until 10:30 or 11 o'clock that night. So, but follow me on Twitter for that update. And I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Curtis. Those in favor of adjournment, ayes.
Aye.
Those opposed, nays. Meeting adjourned.